Hi, my name is Brian Caffel and welcome to this week's Ask Brian, part of our weekly newsletter. If you get a chance, sign up for our newsletter in the YouTube comment or description section for the video. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel and submit a comment. There's a link to a Google form down there. This week I'm going to pick a question that I'm highly familiar with, which is, what are the mathematical requirements to get a PhD from a statistics or biostatistics department? Okay, so I've directed the graduate programs here at Johns Hopkins Biostatistics for 5 years, and then I worked as sort of a key component of the graduate program for several years before that. So I think I'm pretty familiar with what's needed. So some of this varies a little bit by the nature of the statistics and biostatistics programs that you're going to go to. So some of them, especially statistics programs, are highly mathematical. And so calibrate what I'm saying if you're applying to one of those, that they're going to require more mathematics. Also, there are certain biostatistics departments that are a lot more applied, and you can calibrate that in that direction as well. So the first thing I would say is you know, every program pretty much as a minimum is going to require 3 semesters of calculus and linear algebra. Pretty much, and that would almost uniformly be required for a master's program in biostatistics as well, though sometimes they can get a bit lax with it. But for nearly every PhD program, they're going to require 3 semesters of calculus and linear algebra. I think it would also be helpful for almost every biostat PhD program to have had at least one class in proof-based mathematics. And when I say that, I mean either your linear algebra class included some proofs, so it was taught more like an abstract algebra class, or an abstract algebra, or a number theory, or a real analysis class. Okay, now having said that, many biostat PhD programs, it's highly preferable to come into the program with a year or at least semester-long sequence in so-called real analysis, mathematical real analysis. That is often quite useful when you need to take classes like measure theoretic probability, that you'll need to just have some of those basics requirements before you go on to the more advanced things. What we do here is if you're admitted to the program and you haven't had real analysis already, you usually spend a year where you bring your mathematical and real analysis skills up to speed before you then take something like measure theoretic probability. Now, having said that, there are some highly mathematical statistics programs especially where those requirements might even be more stringent, just to be successful in the program and to be happy in the program with what the faculty do. So, before you apply, make sure to ask them what are their requirements, but most of them will list it on the website. But the kind of foremost is make sure, if you're really thinking about doing this and you're starting from a position where your mathematical prerequisites aren't in the greatest shape, the first thing I would say is make sure you've taken those 3 semesters of calculus and linear algebra. And I do have a friend, by the way, who took some time off between his undergraduate, he served in the military, took some time off between his undergraduate and graduate studies, and he started back took time off between his high school and his undergraduate studies, and he started out taking, college level algebra and worked his way up to now he's a sort of highly esteemed professor, and actually, is a highly theoretical professor. So, it's now he's, sort of an exceptional case, but there's nothing to be said that if you don't have these prerequisites that you can't start working towards them and make it up to where you're in a position to be able to enter into a PhD program in biostatistics or a PhD program in statistics. Now, having said that, these are the requirements to get to do okay in the program. There's a second set of requirements. You have to get in to actually do it, and of course that requires impressing an admissions committee in order to get accepted, and that of course varies depending on the prestige of the program and what the committee values and that sort of thing. So I can do another video on that, but I think just to be sure, we've pretty much covered what are the math requirements, and I just want to emphasize that doesn't mean those are, get those requirements and you'll for sure get into a program. You have to do well in them, you have to have other intangibles and other things if you want to get into various programs. Okay, so I think that's beaten that question to death more than it even needed to be. If you get a chance, subscribe, and we'll have another video for you next week.